Hey, bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue dans mon live show du mercredi midi. Donc aujourd'hui, j'ai un invité spécial avec moi, je vous l'ai annoncé au début de la semaine. Je vais rapidement passer en anglais, mais je vais me présenter pour ceux qui ne me connaissent pas. Je m'appelle Karine Roy, je suis consultante et coach d'entreprise et particulièrement, j'aide l'aspirant entrepreneur à être l'architecte de sa vie pour passer de salarié à incorporé. So now I'm going to switch in English and I'm going to introduce Josefine Wanner. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to let you introduce yourself and explain us what you do.
Hi, Karine, and hi, everyone. And I'm really, really happy that I get the opportunity to be here and talk to your people, because I think the more we work together, the better the world can become. And you just told me about or not just, I know about the purpose of that you kind of like be the architecture of your life. And I think that was the thing that kicked off my own journey, actually. So I was in corporate for almost 20 years. And I tried to become, or I played with the idea of becoming an entrepreneur for several years, but I never really dared to take the leap. I started working together with two friends, and we got stuck in the analysis paralysis. We did SWOT analysis, and I don't know what analysis. We did all the types of analysis that you could do, but we never dared to test our idea. And then one day in August 2019, I learned that my father had incurable cancer. And that was my first very real wake-up call, where I said, this could happen to me. This could happen to any one of us. So 4 weeks after we had learned about that diagnosis, I handed in my resignation to my very high status, high profile, well-paid corporate job at one of Switzerland's largest banks. And I had no clue what I wanted to do. And that was the kickoff of my own entrepreneurial journey.
So you basically started from zero.
Yeah, I had no idea. I just knew I need to get the heck out of there. I call it that when we are in there, I call it that we are in the corporate golden cage, and you have all these different bars.
So true.
It's bars. Yeah, it's so true. Exactly. It's the bars of the society, what they think, what you think yourself, your monthly salary that you're getting. We also had our mortgage for a house we had at the bank, and I was like, do this now, I might never get out of here. And I'm not advising. So I got someone from LinkedIn who said, because I posted about this on LinkedIn too, and she was like, this is so inspiring, but I don't want to leave my job. And I was like, well, I'm not telling everyone that everyone needs to take kind of like the leap into the cold water, but that was what I did. And I was like, I was so lost and I was so giddy at the same time. And what I learned then is just you need to take step by step. And some things you cannot rush.
Exactly.
It needs to take the time. Yeah.
We're having Hagen watching us. So hi, Hagen. And she found you very inspiring. So
yeah, I see that. So hi, Hagen. Yeah.
And I think what blocks most of people are the fear. The unknown, the fear of not knowing what I'm going to do, how it's going to happen to me. We all have those, negative thoughts on, but what if it's not working? What if, it's not for me? But how would you overcome that, those thoughts?
I had all of those fears, and I still have. I mean, we all have fears. There are like fears of financial loss, fear of loss in general, fear that we might lose someone, fear of success too. That what happens if I am successful? What happens if they come to me and I cannot help them? What if they pay me and I don't get them the results? We all have these fears. I think if we think about like the first steps, taking the first steps, I think everyone needs to have a wake-up call, and you will get that wake-up call if you are in a situation where you are unhappy. And the wake-up call can be that someone passes away that is very close to you, like in my case, that you have a burnout, that you lose your job, that they kick you out, or that you become seriously ill yourself. And these I also try to, and I think that is also what you do. We try to encourage people to actually think about this before you land in that wake up call, because when you are at the floor, it's really hard to crawl yourself up again.
Well, I think you feel more in a rush to do something and to do it quick and to perform into success. Beside, if you think about that before and you're planning a little more, that okay, I want to do that transition from my corporate to the corporate job, I can plan better, I can get prepared, I can start teaching that, I mean not teaching but getting ready and learning how to do it. I think it's the best way to do it. But in my case, it was exactly the same as you, actually. And then because I had a cancer, so that was one of a trigger for me. And I also lost my job in the COVID context. So, but that's okay because I choose myself, and I'm totally happy where I am right now. But it often comes from a very strong emotional event. And this is when people take action, and it's okay because since it's coming from something very, very strong, usually we take action and we do the work. We do the work to make it happen. And actually, Hagen says that burnout according to her, is a growing problem. No dismissing the other major health or personal situation, but it's true. A lot of people are burned out in their actual job that they don't like. It's like a golden cage. You just name it at the beginning. Yeah? Totally. So yeah.
And if I'm really, really honest here, so I had actually been seeing a therapist for a year before I quit my job. And I sat there with her and I listened to myself week in, week out, how I disliked my job. And she was like, do you really need to stay there? Do you really need to stay there? And you have all these reasons. Oh yeah, I need to stay there, and you also a little bit, you get a little bit flattered because you get more and more and more responsibility and you grow, and still you don't really or I didn't really like the situation. And then when this with my dad happened, I was like, what am I doing? Listening to myself that I don't really like the situation. So I quit. And then I finished in November 2019. And it was like after that all of these realizations came to me. And what also happened was that I had no clue what I wanted to do. I just knew that I don't want anyone to feel the same way that I am feeling right now. I love workshops. I love the energy that are in workshops. So I was like, but what if I then teach women? Because at the time I focused more on women and I wanted to help them to find their dream life or follow their dreams. And I was like, but what if I do help someone to follow their dreams and they say, yes, I'm going to follow my dreams. What do I do then? So that actually took me to the next step, to become a coach. So I become a trained coach because for me to solve these fears that we spoke about before, fear of showing up on social media, I took a course on how do you post on social media, because at the time I didn't have a profile picture on LinkedIn. I didn't have I never commented, liked, or posted on LinkedIn. My Instagram profile was extremely private. I had two photos from 2013. One was from my kids and the other one was from when I crashed our car. But I realized that I need to become a public person if I want to create the life that I want to live. And so I started with an Instagram course because Instagram felt a little bit safer for me. And then gradually, so now I'm posting every day on LinkedIn, but it's not something that happened just one day, like one day to the other. It takes time, these changes.
Yeah, that's what Hagen says as well. Sometimes it takes a major event to be able to step back and see things more clearly outside of the golden cage. And in fact, I don't know how old you are and at what age you took that decision, but to me, it was 40. I'm in 44. So usually it's like in the 40s, that kind of that big 40s where you want to reset your life again. I don't know if it was the same for you.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I was 45 when this happened. And I was like, I had been thinking before, planning for my retirement. And in Switzerland, I live in Switzerland. I am originally from Sweden, but I live in Switzerland. And the retirement age is around 65. So I would have still 20 years to grind doing things that I didn't love. And one thing is also but what about my pension? And what about this? And what about, as I said, our mortgage? But these things, I wouldn't say they solve themselves. We have to solve them, but they will. You need to have faith. You need to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, and I've never. That was also one of the things maybe that made it easier for me to take the leap when I did it, because I had been quite successful in the corporate world doing something I didn't really love doing, and then I was thinking, so imagine how successful I can be when I do something that I'm really passionate about.
You like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you know, I think when it comes from a true calling, the real true calling, the one from inside of you, that your real purpose, yeah, right, in life.
Purpose, yeah.
Yeah, purpose. That's a hard word for French speaker.
Yeah.
But it is, it can only work. I mean, you need to do the work. Of course, it's not like you're going to be sitting and just hoping that it's going to happen. But if it's sincere and if it's a true calling, all your action, you're going to be guided from the source, whatever you call it, whether you believe in God or whatever. To me, it's all the same. It's kind of that powerful energy that is within you. It's just going to lead you through success. But yeah, it might be a bit difficult. And I don't like to use those negative words because it's more challenging. I would like to say challenging than difficult, because you're going to face challenge, and those challenges are there to make you grow and to learn through those experiences. But you've been doing this for a while, so yeah, you may have some challenge at the beginning, but can you talk to us about the good side of it right now? What's the benefits of doing that, making that decision in your life?
I actually had a discussion with a former colleague of mine before, and he was like, it seems like you're working all the time now, because he sees me on social media. And I'm like, you know what? Probably I'm working more hours than I did before, but it has rather become a lifestyle. It's as Sagan says, you get to a stage in life when you reset your priorities and realize that you need to live a life rather than living to work. And I think that is what I'm doing. When I get up in the morning, I have a huge smile on my face. And the only thing I want to do is run to my desk and start kind of working more or less. I actually have to force myself to go out for my daily walk that I do in the morning to get new inspiration through podcasts or whatever it might be. So I'm living this in a different way. Before, in my corporate job, I had stomach ache when I had to open up my laptop in the morning. I was afraid of what types of emails I would find. I was even afraid sometimes of the types of invites I would get to. I was invited to meetings. I was in risk in the bank. I was working in risk and compliance and in audit. These are kind of the areas where I've been. And you're often not really loved in those positions. And it was also quite a toxic environment. So that was why I now get to do what I want to do. I can work from anywhere in the whole world, because that was one of the things that actually drew me to become an entrepreneur, so that I can be with my family in Sweden when I need to be with my family in Sweden. And I can be in Italy. We were in Sicily the other week. And I get to work from anywhere. Yeah, Hagen has also worked it works within audit, risk, and compliance. Yeah, it's a different world, right?
Yeah. But I think you said something very interesting, and I think should be a warning for people who are watching this video. You talk about sign, symptom, physical symptom that you're going to experience is when you do something you just don't want to do or you don't like. And just before you talk to us about that, you also said that, what was I going to say? Go ahead. I have a blank. The surgery, the post-op surgery, I guess, is just I'm still on medication, I guess.
Yeah. But that's also good. I want to pick up what you said about not using the word. I can't remember which word you said, but I also don't like to use the words fears or limiting beliefs. I like to use the word challenges, as you do, because the word challenges instead, because when something is a challenge, it's so much easier to get over it. And I also remember when I quit, and I was like, oh my God, I need to follow my purpose. But what the heck is my purpose? I had no clue. And Simon Sinek speaking about finding your why. And I mean, I had suppressed my why for years, more or less. And I had no clue what it was. I didn't even know what I was passionate about, you know? So it was like all of these ideas popped up. And I still think we don't need to follow our why, because that can change. Our purpose can change. So instead of being afraid of or being held back by, I don't know what it is that I want. Well, if you start walking, if you take one step, then it is easier to take the next step and the next step. It's like a big ship, for example. If it stays in the harbor and it doesn't move, you can't steer it, right? But if it's out on the ocean and it's moving slowly forward, then it's so much easier to steer it in one direction or the other. And new paths will open up. You and I wouldn't have met if we had stayed.
Information is coming in through the along the way anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember what I was going to say. In fact, you said that, you know, when I get up in the morning and I'm just in a hurry to start to work, but in fact, it probably doesn't feel like working.
No.
That's the difference. You may put more, and I can relate to that because I like it myself as well, and I need to to talk to myself. To talk, I'm gonna have to stop at this time because also I have other priority. I have family priority, and I want to take care of them as well. So being there for them. Sorry. So yeah, totally. I relate to that as well.
Yeah, and now my son is yelling, he's screaming, "Mama!" And that is the thing too. No, he's over there. So no. Let's leave him there. But that is also another thing, right? Before, and I think also with COVID, that has also really eased up the situation. People now know that we have kids. I don't have any dog or cat or anything, but people have private lives. So it has eased up a little bit. But that is also one thing. Before we argued about who is going to stay at home with the kids when some of them kind of falls ill or something. And now I don't need.
Joining the call. You spoke in French. He says hello, hi. I cannot see your name because you probably didn't agree on the StreamYard rules, but hi. Actually, what I was thinking about listening to you is, I think most of people, the 99% people, society, are just, raised, and they are just minded through, social way of, this is how life should be. So you should go to school, and then maybe if you get a good job, you can get a house, husband, kids, dog, blah, blah, blah. And okay, we all want to settle down and to get a good job with, the all those advantage that we think it's advantage because we were programmed to think that. So that's a social thinking that we've been raised in, I think. But it has been proven through research that being your own, business owner, it's way more, how could I say, it's way more. First, you make a lot more money, definitely. And you can have all those advantages. It's just we're putting our self-limitation that we shouldn't put. And those limitations become fears, those fears that we were talking about. But instead of putting the focus on that, we should put the focus on, we want to make that happen, and we're going to work to make that happen. Because I don't know about you, but I'm part of the 1%.
Exactly. To kind of and that is also what I tell my clients. We remove a time cap, because that is also what you have when you are in an employment situation. You have to be there. You have to show up, which we do too, but we show up in a different way, right? We are, I would say, more flexible, but also a compensation cap. If you set it up as you want to set it up, and if you kind of put in your heart in it, then you don't have a compensation cap. There is no roof on that, right? Compared to your annual salary, or maybe you might get a salary increase, and probably not in most cases.
Or very, very small, that you just
don't see the
difference in your paycheck. Or if you see a difference, the difference you see you're just going to pay more tax. You don't see a real difference on your real salary.
Yeah.
So if you want to recap all this, what would you, according to you, what would be like the biggest challenge in making that move? What does it take? beside an emotional or huge like event in your life, a trigger like that, what should be driving people to take that decision?
I think the biggest challenge is probably to be patient, actually, and to trust in the process, or trust in universe, or as you said before, whatever people call it. But I think that things open up, and I've become way more spiritual than I was before because of things that happened to my father and things that have happened to me. But to actually really open up for that, to believe in that things will become, it's going to go good, great, or whatever you want to do. But you need to believe in yourself, and that is another thing that is really interesting. Fears are not real. We tend to believe in fears even though they are not real. Faith is also not real, to believe that you will make it happen, but still you kind of choose to believe in fears instead of believing in faith, even though they're both not real, right? So what do you
But I
choose?
just love what you just said, because this is, I think, what people should, remind from this entire talk is fear is invisible. It's just a kind of energy, negative energy, and faith is also available, but it's not because you can't see it that it's not there. And you
Exactly.
rather focus on something positive that is going to serve you, like the faith in yourself, faith in everything. Yeah, you're true. I mean, there's absolutely no reason for not to work if you're putting the energy to go towards your goal. It's
Yeah.
impossible. But then you said it, you need patience.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the universe operate on its own beat.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not our beat.
Exactly. And also maybe to learn from your mistakes or failures or whatever, they are learning. So for example, I had several sales discussions last week, and I wasn't really present during those sales discussions, so I totally blew them. I didn't listen to them. So what do I do with that information? I take it to me, I learn from it, and I share it with the people who work with me, so that they can learn from my mistakes, which I don't really call mistakes. They are more pilots, actually.
Yeah.
So
It's
every
learning
little
experience.
thing that you do, take it and learn from it, and then you make a social post out of it. And then you have that figured out already.
Yeah. Wow. Higgins says every day is a learning day and everyone is an opportunity. And it's true. I believe that
Yeah.
as well. If I don't know, Egan or someone else watching, if you have any question maybe for Josephine before we hang up that call, we're ready to hear your question. If you have a specific one. No? So, well, it was great having you, Josephine. I just love that talk. And maybe we should plan something like that another time later on, just so we have another crowd. But it was great having you. And I totally agree with everything you said. And I would like to say, I think the last sentence you say about the energy and, the fear versus the faith, I think this is a good switch to have the mindset switch that people should have. It's just to think like that.
Yeah, everything will work itself out.
Yeah, well, thank you. So I'm just to close that call, just to remind everyone that I'm having actually an event, a free event coming on June 6th until June 10th. It's actually an event to help you actually make that decision to pass from or corporate to incorporate. So if you're interested in registering, I mean, the registration are open. I'm going to put the link. And also I'm going to put the link of Josephine group if you would like to join her group and her tribe to follow her as well. So thank you for coming. Thank you everyone for watching and for your precious comments. So thank you again for being there. And I think we're going to close like this.
Yeah, thank you so much, both Karine and thank you, Egan, for your engagement. It makes it so much easier also for Karine and myself when we're doing discussions like this, makes it more lively. So thank you, and thank you so much. And I definitely urge everyone to register to your event too, because even if you heard some things before, Don't do them. You need to hear them again and again and again until you really implement what Karine says that you should implement.
Yeah, and definitely they're gonna learn something because there's plenty of information to learn, and then you start from there. It's the beginning, and you putting your seeds, and eventually it's gonna grow in your mind, and it maybe not this time, another time, but you're gonna start thinking about what you want in your life. So yeah.
Absolutely. We're planting loads of seeds now, Karine.
Exactly.
So I wish you all a lovely day and hope to see you soon again.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.